We move straight to business as Egypt's central bank has approved the granting of licenses to allow merchants accept contactless payments from their customers' mobile phones. The Apex Bank on Sunday did not say how soon the new system would be in place or who would be eligible to receive the licenses. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Exchange Limited sustained its rally at the beginning of the weekend as key market indices rose by 0.23%, just as turnover shares traded was up 403.63%. Specifically, the NGX All-Share Index inched higher by 88.16 points or 0.23% to close at 38,962.28 against 38,874.12 recorded on Thursday. Similarly, the market capitalization, which opened at 20.253 trillion naira, appreciated further by 46 billion naira or 0.23% to close at 20.299 trillion naira. Joining me live on News Central now is the Managing Director of Trust Bank Capital Management Limited, Aziz Lawal. Many thanks for joining us on the news at this time, Aziz.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, Aziz, it's another quiet week in the equity market. Performance was consistent with what we have seen since the turn of the month. What insights do you have for investors on market performance to date, and what should they expect from the market this week?
Yeah, thank you, Rita. Yes, I mean, the pattern of performance and activity levels have been consistent all through the month. We've seen tepid activity levels accompanied by marginal swings in performance. I mean, the week under consideration, I mean, the market closed 0.05%. The week before it did 0.06%. Month to date, we are still less than 1%. Meanwhile, in the last January to August, by this time of the month, we're close to 2%. So, I mean, it tells you level of activities and performance this month. And we expect this performance and activity levels to continue to the new week, with the bulls having a marginal advantage, as we've seen in the last two trading weeks, particularly as market players position their portfolios for positive monthly and quarterly performances. As for insights for investors, interesting. Investors should take advantage of the current low price environment in anticipation of improved Q3 earnings, like we've seen for Q1 and Q2. With the current level of inflation and devaluation, I mean, equity investment remains one of the most prolific options available to investors to grow their wealth. However, all positions should be taken having considered personal investment objectives, risk appetite, and how long you want to stay invested. Yeah, thank you.
All right. On the other hand, the federal government was active in the debt market last week. Now, what's your take on the outcome and the impact on yield direction?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yes, we were indeed active. In fact, as far as debt is concerned, that's the biggest debt activity levels we've seen in 1 week this year. Locally, the DMO, of course, on behalf of the federal government, offered to raise a total of 150 billion worth of debt via their usual bond auction. I mean, the offer was significantly oversubscribed by 184 billion naira, but DMO allocated a total of 227 billion and kept stock rates flat at 11.6% and 12.675% for 2028 and 2036 maturities, while 2050 was allocated at 13%. That was, I mean, 20 basis points up from the last auction. I mean, for context, government asked for 150 billion in the local market. The market said, government, we are going to give you 184 billion more. Or going into the international market, still during the week, I mean, the FG tapped into the international capital market and raised $4 billion through the issuance of Eurobonds. The offer, again, saw significant subscription. In fact, total subscription was around $12.2 billion, indicating decent investor appetite for the nation's debt security. It's also an indication that investors have confidence in the country's performance, debt issuance, and sustainability. or contrary to local opinion, local public opinion, Rita. But I mean, bids were received from investors globally, from America, from Europe, from Asia. I mean, but the $4 billion raise was allocated across 3 tenures, 7 years, 12 year, and 30 year, for 1.25 billion for 7 year at 6.12%, and for 12 and 30 it was 1.5 billion and 1.25 billion at 7.3 and 8.25% respectively. On impact, we believe the proceeds from the issue will support the CBN's quest to stabilize the naira. So, I mean, typically when dollars come in, we expect that the naira will stabilize. As for yields, before the bond issuance, market was bullish as market players anticipated possibility of reduced local currency debt issuance. As for the bond auction, sell interest dominated auctions as auction speculators sought to exit their positions.
All right, thank you so much, Aziz Lawal. All right, we're really pressed for time. Thank you so much for sharing so much insights on the market indices for last week. Thank you so much, Aziz Lawal.
Yeah, thank you, Rita. Thank you.
Kindly note that News Central TV advised you to consult a financial advisor or stockbroker before you put any stocks or bonds.